Good morning, all, depending when you're watching this. Good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name is Ross, and as always told, Out of Voice Radio, and today we are bringing you some very exciting news that has just been leaked over at PokeBeach.com. I will pop a link to the article in which it was leaked in the description, so you can go and check out the original news story at its source. What I'm here to do is tell you all the implications of this and see what we can get of this, see what this is actually going to mean for the Pokemon trading card game. And I'll tell you something for nothing, ladies and gentlemen. There are some interesting things afoot. What is interesting, PokeBeach got this information from a Japanese store owner, and of course my previous video, uploaded just a couple hours ago, was also leaked information about an unreleased card for which we don't have a picture coming out of Japan. Apparently, today is a day when a whole bunch of people in Japan are leaking information which they found. What a wonderful day for Pokemon. I am delighted. And big shout out to PokeBeach for getting this information out there. They rock. Now, the first piece of information we have is that there is going to be a Prism Star Stadium card coming in Sun and Moon 7A, Thunderclap Spark. Now, this is coming out in July between Sun and Moon 7 and Sun and Moon 8 in Japan, which means it will not be in our August set Celestial Storm. It will in fact be in our November set, which as of the moment has no name. Although I'm just going out on a limb here and saying it's going to be released on Friday the 2nd of November, because sets are always released on the first Friday of the month nowadays. It's not exactly a huge prediction to make. And this stadium card will apparently reduce the attack cost for a certain type of Pokemon by 1 energy. Now, this opens up a whole bunch of questions and an immediate comparison to Dimension Valley. Firstly, is this going to work for only one type of energy, like Dimension Valley works for Psychic Pokemon, but nobody else? Is it going to work for colorless energy, or colored energy, whereas Dimension Valley is clearly colorless energy? Or could it even be a card which applies to pretty much any Pokemon? We don't have the answers to this question, and I'll do a full video and a WASI score for the card when we do have the full information and the picture. Although, spoiler alert, it is trending dangerously close to a 5 WASI card. Because let's face it, Dimension Valley was sick. It's still great in Expanded, and with cards like Pumpkaboo and the Crozma, I mean, the Crozma can use its GX attack, doing 100 damage to all your opponent's EXs and GXs for just a double colorless energy. That's 1 energy attachment. That is very, very, very good indeed. Make no mistake about it, Dimension Valley was great, this will be as well. I mean, if we had to guess what type, the most sensible type to guess would be Lightning. And the reason is Sun and Moon 7A is the one with Zero Aura. So in the same way that Lance Prism Star came out in Dragonstorm, a set for Dragon Pokemon, and Cyrus came out in Ultra Prism, the set based around Diamond and Pearl, thematically, if we're introducing a Lightning type legendary, it makes perfect sense to have a stadium that helps Lightning types. And the first one that comes to mind here for me is the promo Tapu Koko. Now, weirdly enough, if this reduced the energy cost by 1 Lightning, wouldn't really be that good. But if it was literally Dimension Valley for Lightning types, the promo Tapu Koko could use Flying Flip for 1 basic energy. How cool would that be? Turn 1, 1 basic energy, boom, Flying Flip. That's pretty sweet. If it was for other Pokemon, let's say it was something like Dragonite, let's say for argument's sake it reduced the attack cost of any Pokemon in play by 1 Lightning, then Dragonite could be using Dragon Wave doing 130 for a single grass energy. I think this is a lot less likely, but I'm just using this as an example for how gosh darn good this stadium card is actually looking to be. And also, right, is anyone else really excited by the idea of Prism Star Stadium cards? I want absolutely nuts good Prism Star Stadium cards because of the Prism Star rule. You can only have 1 of it in your deck, and if it gets discarded, it goes straight to the Lost Zone. And it is super easy to get rid of stadiums at the moment. You can just put another stadium down, I don't know, let's say Brooklet Hill. Oh no, now your stadium goes to the discard pile. Gutted. oh no, wait, it's a Prism Star, it goes to the Lost Zone, or just Field Blower. And of course, if you have to Professor Sycamore early in the game because it's your only supporter card, you have to play down this stadium knowing that it's not going to last there for the entire game. Make it super good, while also making it super easy to get rid of. That is what I want Prism Star cards to be. I think Solgaleo Prism Star in metal decks with Duskmane Necrozma is on the verge of being too good because of how easily you can accelerate 6 energy in one turn. But you have one copy in your deck, and when it's gone, it's gone. That's what I want Prism Star cards to be. This, ladies and gentlemen, is very exciting to me. I think this is going to be a very good card. Now, Pokebeach also tell us that in Sun and Moon 7B, Fairy Rise, and I have done videos about both of these little mini sets. I will pop links in the description so you can go and have a look at them. And essentially, Fairy Rise here is going to have a Fairy type Alolan Ninetales-GX. Now, I'm fairly sure we predicted this was going to happen. And it's not exactly a particularly difficult prediction to make. I'd have to go back and watch the video to be sure, but it's called Fairy Rise, and it's got Alolan Ninetales on the pack. If we didn't predict a Fairy type Alolan Ninetales-GX, it wasn't a giant leap to make. Similarly, you know, Mimikyu and Xerneas are probably going to have GXs as well. Although maybe not Xerneas, because it's already getting one in Forbidden Light, which is kind of interesting. Not only that, but we also apparently know what the ability is going to be. Although again, we're fairly sure about this information, but we're not 100% sure here. Pokebeach wouldn't have put it up if they weren't pretty sure. Same thing, I wouldn't have put up my Sceptile video unless I was like 95% or more sure. So we're going to be getting a Fairy type Alolan Ninetales-GX with an ability. When you evolve it up, you can search your deck for any 2 item cards and put them into your hand. That, ladies and gentlemen, is pretty gosh darn good. Now, you're doing this mid-turn, so you can use it there and then. You can make sure you've got that choice band to do extra damage, or you can make sure you've got that max elixir to accelerate energy, or you can make sure you've got that switch to get into the active, because you might be on the bench, or even just something like an Ultra Ball to search out more Pokemon. Either way, I am loving this. And of course, let's not forget, we've got the ridiculous Alolan Vulpix with Beacon that came out in Guardians Rising. It is going to depend on whether we've actually got a decent attack here, because if the attack isn't good, then it's not actually going to be any use whatsoever. Well, it's going to be useful. Thing is, remember the new Solgaleo's coming out, which means a Fairy GX is going to be weak to Metal. It could be a really bad weakness to have. And Alolan Vulpix rocks, but evolving up to get 2 item cards and then having a 2 prize liability waiting to be Guzman and KO'd on your bench, not sure about that. That sounds a little bit dodgy to me, ladies and gentlemen. A little bit dodgy. And quick side note, apparently we're all in on repeating GXs when we haven't got GXs of things like Donphan yet. Because we've had 2 Solgaleo GXs now, we've had 2 Lunala GXs, or we will have soon, and we've had 2 Zygarde GXs. And yeah, fine, Solgaleo's a mascot, and Lunala's a mascot, and yeah, technically speaking, the Zygardes are different forms. And of course, we've had more than one Lycanroc GX, and you can argue that they're different forms, and we're getting 2 different Mr. Mime GXs, but you know, they're a pair and they were released in old sets. It's not fair that we're repeating Pokemon GXs when we haven't got Donphan or Mamoswine yet. Getting a little bit angry with this. But hey ho. The last piece of information that we have is there's going to be a Mimikyu-GX, and in theory, we don't actually know what type it is. Let me be super clear, it's Fairy type. Do you know how I know? Because the set's called Fairy Rise, and the packet has Mimikyu on the front. And the set's called Fairy Rise. And it's themed around fairy Pokemon. And actually, now that I think about it, the set is called Fairy Rise, so I mean, this is where it ends up being a Psychic type, and I look incredibly dumb, but I am willing to go out on a limb and say it's going to be a Fairy type. Of course, we've already had a Mimikyu-GX that is a psychic type, which adds more fuel to my it's going to be a fairy type argument, and by we, I of course mean Japan. It hasn't come over here, and it's never going to. I am super excited about this stadium. I'm moderately excited about Alolan Ninetales, but I want to see the attack. And I like Mimikyu, I love him, he's always on my team in the video game, and I'm a little bit bitter, as you may be able to tell, that we never got the Psychic-type Mimikyu-GX, so I like the fact that we are getting a Fairy-type to make up for it. It's not officially a Fairy-type, but you know, did I mention the set's called Fairy Rise? Huge shout out to PokeBeach for bringing this information, and hopefully I've added the analysis that you guys are all looking for. Either way, there's a comment section. If you've got questions remaining, chuck them down, I'll do my best to answer them. And if you've got any other predictions for these sets, I would genuinely like to hear them, so let me know. Go nuts, but be nice. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at @TheWossy, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and so on, head on over to patreon.com/PTCGRadio, where you can do just that. And do check out my video game channel, Wossy Plays, where we're very almost at 1,000 subs. But by far the most important thing, as always, is to look after yourselves until next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.